A few weeks ago, Nikita Beer, head of product at X, got on his own platform and said something that stopped a lot of people cold. In less than 90 days, all channels that we thought were safe from spam and automation, iMessage, phone calls, Gmail, will be so flooded that they will no longer be usable in any functional sense. And we will have no way to stop it. This isn't someone posting conspiracy theories. This is the man who runs spam defense at one of the largest platforms on Earth, telling the rest of us it's coming for everyone. 2 weeks after that post, he purged 1.7 million bot accounts off X. The next day, they respawned. At Jelvix, we decided to look into what's actually behind this, and why it's bigger than a spam problem. To understand why Beer is scared, you need to understand one word: OpenClaw. On March 3rd, 2026, OpenClaw surpassed 250,000 GitHub stars, overtaking React, a library that has been foundational to web development for a decade. A solo developer's side project beat it in 2 months. The project gained 60,000 GitHub stars in 72 hours, faster than any software project in history. Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, called it the most important open-source project in the history of humanity. That's not a marketing line. That's a man who understands compute telling you what this thing is. So what does it actually do? OpenClaw is a local-first AI agent. You give it access to your calendar, your email, your browser, your terminal, and it learns to automate the repetitive parts of your day. It can send messages across Telegram, Discord, Slack, WhatsApp, Signal, and iMessage. It can fill out forms, scrape websites, schedule meetings, and write its own improvements. Some guy had OpenClaw negotiate car prices with dealers over iMessage while he was at brunch. That's the benign version of this story. Because before OpenClaw, being a spammer required real skills. You needed to run servers, write scripts, understand infrastructure. The barrier kept most people out. Now that barrier is disappearing. The concern isn't just large-scale organized spam operations, it's individuals leveraging low-cost AI agents to generate income through mass messaging. What happens when every scammer, every phishing operation, every coordinated disinformation campaign gets one of these? You don't need to imagine it, it's already starting. By early April, OpenClaw had 346,000 GitHub stars and 3.2 million users. It also triggered the first major AI agent security crisis of 2026. 9 critical vulnerabilities in 4 days, with over 135,000 exposed instances found across 82 countries. And Beer knows this better than anyone, because the bots he's fighting aren't the old kind. The old spam was stupid, bad grammar, 3 fonts in 1 sentence. You saw it coming from a mile away. The new spam went to college. Every AI model has been trained through a process where humans are shown 2 responses and asked which one is more compelling. The system reinforces whichever wins, over millions of iterations. The result is that AI-generated content has been mathematically optimized to hold attention better than almost anything a human can write. The same optimization that is making spam more convincing is already reshaping search itself. When algorithms start rewarding the most engaging synthetic output over original reporting, the damage doesn't stay in your inbox. It spreads to the entire system people use to find information. Global Google search traffic to publishers dropped significantly in 2025, with losses outpacing gains 2-to-1 across news brands. Publishers who responded to industry surveys now plan to put less effort into traditional Google search in 2026. CNN's website traffic dropped around 30% year over year. Business Insider saw traffic fall around 40%. HuffPost declined around 40%. The travel blog The Planet D shut down entirely after its traffic dropped 90% following Google's introduction of AI overviews. We had a deal. Publishers produced real content. Readers found it through search. Ad revenue kept the lights on. That deal is now structurally broken. Not bending, broken. Because the algorithm doesn't care if what it surfaces is real. The ad network doesn't care. Nobody in the chain between creation and monetization has any incentive to care. Here's the part nobody wants to talk about directly. Once attention systems stop privileging truth, they can be used not just to extract clicks, but to suppress reality itself. The Chinese government figured this out before anyone else. When protests break out, search results for relevant keywords get flooded, not with counter-narratives, not with censorship, but with content so engaging that nobody gets to the actual information. You don't block the signal, you drown it. That playbook is now available to anyone with a laptop and OpenClaw. AI scams surged 1,210% in 2025, with projected losses hitting $40 billion by 2027. Americans now encounter an average of 3 deepfakes per day. 1 in 10 have fallen for a voice clone scam, and 77% of those victims lost money. The reply spam on X used to be easy to spot. Now it's AI-generated profiles, linking to AI-generated content pointing at AI-generated scams. The whole pipeline, automated. The whole thing optimized to be more convincing than anything a human would write. And Beer is still in there fighting. He added a dislike button to replies. That's the front line of spam defense in 2026. A dislike button. Here's what this is actually about. The internet was never a neutral pipe, but it used to have enough friction that bad actors needed real resources. Servers, infrastructure, people. OpenClaw runs on a Mac Mini, a Raspberry Pi, or a $99 per year cloud server. The friction is gone. The cost of a spam operation just collapsed to essentially zero, and the quality of what that operation can produce is now higher than most human-written content. There is no patch for this. No filter catches it cleanly because the content isn't technically wrong, it's just not real. And the systems designed to catch spam were built for a world where spam was stupid. That world ended sometime in 2025. Maybe this is overstated. Spam has always existed. Email spam peaked in 2010 and we survived. Filters adapted. Maybe they adapt again. Possibly. Historically, spam waves have ebbed and flowed depending on technological shifts. Email spam surged in the early 2000s before stronger filters restored some balance. Robocalls followed a similar pattern, but each of those waves had a ceiling. The tools were expensive enough that the economics only worked at scale for organized operations. OpenClaw has no ceiling. The developer who built it is now at OpenAI. The code is open source. The model behind it gets smarter every quarter, and the people who want to misuse it now have a tool that requires no technical background and costs almost nothing to run. Filters that were built to catch human-scale spam are not built for this. Here's what nobody is connecting into one picture. OpenClaw went from 0 to the most starred project in GitHub history in 60 days. Nikita Beer published his warning in February. AI scam losses are on track for $40 billion by 2027. And the economic model that funded the open web for 2 decades is structurally collapsing. The internet was built on a specific assumption, that reaching people required effort. Effort created friction. Friction kept bad actors from flooding every channel simultaneously. That assumption is gone, and nothing has replaced it yet. The question isn't whether your inbox fills up with AI-generated emails perfectly tailored to your career, your location, your recent purchases. It will. The question is what replaces trust when you can no longer tell what's real by looking at it. The old internet wasn't perfect, but smart people could recognize the spam from a mile away. Bad grammar, weird formatting. Something felt off. In the new internet, nothing feels off, because the thing trying to fool you was built from the ground up to be better at fooling you than you are at not being fooled. Publishers losing 20%, 30%, in some cases 90% of their traffic aren't facing a temporary dip. They're facing a structural change in how the internet distributes attention, and it's not reversing. The only thing that still means anything on this internet is the people you already trust, not platforms, not algorithms, not content. Specific humans who have earned it over time. And here's what we at Jelvix see in practice. The companies actually winning right now aren't the ones trying to out-automate the automation. They're investing in the thing that can't be faked. People with real expertise, real context, and real accountability. Because when everything can be generated, the only differentiator left is whether you actually know what you're talking about. That's all that's left.